Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Graduate Journey. Today we're joined with Vihaan Shah from University of Emory.
Hey guys, my name's Vihaan. Um, I'm currently studying at Emory University, and earlier I was in Hill Spring. In general, like I did the IB, and for grades 9 and 10, I was in PD Samani.
And so, what major are you studying at Emory?
So I haven't yet decided, but I'm leaning towards the BBA, and I'm probably gonna do or something in like econ and math, or I'm looking at something called QSS, which is basically data science.
Did you apply to the UK at all or only the US?
Yeah, I did apply to the UK, but I did but I withdrew my applications because I did an ET2 to M.
Right. And in terms of application requirements, did you find it was easier for the UK or the US?
So it so I think it depends on like where your strong points are, because for someone who's more like academic oriented, they might find it relatively easier to apply to the UK because they purely just go by grades. Like you of course have to do a few extracurriculars, but that has to be like purely related to the major that you're applying for, so that you
Okay.
can write about that in your UCAS essay. Whereas for US, it's a more like holistic thing. You can like explore your multiple interests. I don't know, sports or like music or drama or like whatever you're interested in. And they'll even appreciate if you do like if you take like, like three, 4 steps like more and like go
Right.
ahead with
Okay.
that. So in IGCSE, okay, I'm gonna have to recall all of this. I had taken there were two Englishes, language and literature. There was a coordinated science, which is a double credit, that's compulsory. Then international math. Then I'd taken ad math. I'd taken econ, Spanish, and one more.
Do you guys have
CS.
GP?
CS. Yeah, we did have it, but it's optional. It's not compulsory.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and once I moved to IB, I took math, physics, econ at HL, and I took business, English, Langlet, and French app, and the other two had, I think all three had SM.
Do you take AHL?
Yeah.
How do you think the workload was? Because especially me, I've heard that taking physics and math AHL is really tough and stuff like that. So then,
So in terms of workload, especially when you take both, I mean, I've done ad math, so like that does help, I'd say definitely. But in terms of physics, like I tend to find physics harder because like math is something that comes to me like more naturally.
okay,
But in general, let's say at least like for Hill Spring is that there is a decent amount of work, but if you're able to just like manage your time, it's manageable. Like people say that, oh, they put like all-nighters and stuff in IB and
right,
things like that. I've slept every single night, so it's managed, and I've taken the relatively harder subjects as well.
right,
So it is manageable. You just have to know how to go about it.
got it. Okay, great. Do you think for applying to like UK unis, um, A levels is more appreciated or IB? And
There's no specific thing. Like you can even be an Indian board student and it's completely fine.
the
But
US, is there any preference to?
no, there's no specific preference. Like you'd see A-level school, I mean, so like A-level people or even the Indian board students get into the same level university as probably some of their IB friends get in. I
Okay,
think, but however, IB like it prepares you more, I would say, like in general, because it's very rigorous.
Right. Got it.
Yeah. So
Great. And what about any outside competitions or exams like competitive, like Olympiads or APs or anything like that? Did you take part in any of those?
I'd given a few math Olympiads. In fact, I'd organized one as well for spring. Like, how was the
Oh, okay.
first one? That I was, what's it called? HSMO.
Right.
Yeah. So, like, some of us, we were like the first, like, founding people for math. And in terms of, sorry, what was the other part?
Any other like
Oh,
competitive
and
exams?
no, sorry. And I didn't give any APs.
Do you
Um,
think it's required if you're an IB student to give any APs, anything like that?
so it's like all honestly, like counselors and all go on saying that. I mean, it's good if you want to give it. Like, there's no harm in it.
Right.
Like, you'll just learn more in general, but it's really not required.
A big question is the extracurriculars. So you're just
Yeah.
wondering if you could walk us through some of the extracurriculars you did throughout high school, and the ones that you think made you stand out, you highlighted.
All right. So I can take you guys through a few of them. Honestly, like taking through all will take some time, but um, yeah. So one of the things I mentioned earlier was the math competition. Um, this it was Hill Springs first, and there were like it was like an international thing, so it was like on a pretty decent scale.
Right.
The second thing was it was like my own startup. It was basically about helping students get internships, and we had like a team of around 20, 25 students.
So you're the
And
founder?
yeah, and
Okay.
we sort of help students get internships, because not everyone has access to the same um like opportunities to work.
Right.
And yeah, so it taught me about like leadership and stuff. The third thing I had vaccinated a few of my golf caddies. So I play golf, and it's one of the sports I really like to play. So during COVID, like the caddies, they didn't have any income,
Right.
because the golfers weren't playing. So I helped them by like getting them vaccinated. Um, I've been playing the keyboard since like I don't know, second grade or something, and we formed like our own band and stuff. So I've been playing in like the annual day, like since sixth grade, like every year.
Oh, okay.
And we also took part in few fundraisers to like by playing in the fundraisers to sort of
Right.
help raise money for different things. Done like a few more things, but these are one of the relatively more minor ones. Let me think if I can remember anything.
Right. And
I
in
was part
terms,
of peer tutoring also, like from school for the NHS. It's an American society out here, but they have like branches in different schools. So as part of that,
okay,
yeah,
so the last things you mentioned were kind of like a community service or like class work that you had to do.
yeah,
Okay. And so you mentioned internships. So I was just wondering how you spent your summers, like if you did any internships or if you went to any
oh
summer
yeah, I
schools
forgot
or
to mention that. Okay, yeah, in terms of summer schools, I think that's pointless. It's just a lot of money that you have to spend. You go
really?
by flight also to these colleges. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter that much. Like, what
Oh,
even
okay.
like it at least relative for the amount of money that it costs. It's a
Right.
lot of money that that you pay. Like, of course, the experience is good and stuff, but you're gonna go eventually experience it in another year or two anyway. You
Yeah.
know. So, and like I personally didn't do any summer schools. I have a few friends who did, and yeah, I personally don't think it's that helpful. But everyone has their own opinion. And going to my internships, I did an internship, I think, every summer from 9th to 12th. Sorry. Um, they were all at different things. The last one was more research oriented. The first four was sort of like gaining work experience
Okay.
in the field of finance itself or like businesses, you know. Then the last one was where I wrote like I wrote an investment thesis. with an analyst. It was on a company for, in terms of their stock and stuff. It
Okay.
was like, yeah, it was like a 35 page paper. So you had to,
Um, were you like for investment thesis, do you get them published or um
so honestly speaking, um, like I personally didn't get mine published because it takes like a lot of, time and effort to do that. And I think like universities know that if you're an 18-year-old, like without doing, like trying to get like external help and stuff, no one is going to publish it.
right.
They aren't stupid at the end of the day. Like they're living in the same world, like they know what's going on. So I mean, I didn't really spend a lot of time getting it published, but yeah, when I had to submit it to a few colleges, I submitted it through the Common App.
Okay. And so do you think publishing a research paper would actually help you stand out or not that much?
Um, I mean, there's no harm in publishing it. I just chose not to.
Okay.
But there are few people that you can work with, few professors and stuff, and they might help you get it published, and that would hold like at least the publishing would relatively be more easier.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that depends. It's no set thing that if you publish it, it's better. Don't publish it, it's don't.
Right. Okay, cool. Apart from founding a company, did you um take up any other leadership roles in schools or anything like that?
Um, so in terms of I mean, no, like in through school, I didn't do much in leadership. I mean, I told you about the math competition, like where I was the co-founder with three of my friends.
Right.
But and the NHS thing also I told you. But yeah, I wasn't part of the student council or anything.
Okay.
That's what you're trying to ask.
Do schools place like is it a big deal of if you become the president or things like that or the head girl or head boy?
So in BD Somani, it happens through a voting. So I mean, yeah, it does. It's definitely good if you're the president and stuff. And because like you help organize stuff, you learn things. So I think it definitely matters. It's a good position to have. People should definitely try for it. I mean, like more than the college application thing, I
Okay.
think just
A learning
just
experience.
literally, yeah, just to
Okay.
learn.
And what about letters of recommendation? I forgot to ask that. So, did you get your teachers to write you any? And do you think colleges, um, like, do you think they had any impact on your application or anything like that?
So one thing is that you will never get to see your letter of recommendation
Okay,
because that's like a confidential thing.
right.
Um, I don't know how much it impacts your application because I mean definitely having a good LOR is better. You
Yeah,
should choose teachers accordingly, choose teachers whose subjects probably
excel
relate
at.
more, who you feel that you have a better connection with, who feel that will who can write you a good LOR also that also matters. Because one of the reasons, I mean, some people might say, oh, like go and take your English teacher because they can write better, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but there's no set thing on, like there's no fixed formula, just in general.
But do you think uh like it'd be a good idea, or do you think it's like, do you need at least one, or is it fine if you don't have any?
No, you have to submit two from your school teachers.
Oh, okay,
Like one is, it depends college to college, but you have to submit minimum one, maximum two sometimes, or they can allow you to submit more.
okay,
So like external letters of recommendation. Sometimes students even take three, like ask three teachers to write LORs for them. from school itself. And in terms of external recommendation letters, I'd got my golf coach to write me one, and I'd gotten one more. And I'd gotten my the person who I wrote an investment thesis with, I'd
Oh,
gotten to
okay, the
write me one.
analyst.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I had like four in total. Sometimes you're allowed to submit external ones as well. So
okay,
wherever allowed, I did submit them.
great. Any tips for managing and balancing time?
Make a timetable.
Did you use any like tools for that or just
You can your schools give you your respective email IDs, right? Go on that, make a timetable if you want. If you prefer writing, write it down. If it's on Outlook, like that you get reminders before saying in
right?
30 minutes you have to do this. Many times in school, when IB, you have free blocks. Like you tend to, just like chill with people and stuff. Sometimes get work done as well. Like, of course, it's good to hang out with your friends. I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
But you also want to like go out, like after school and things also. So, I mean, like I never compromise on any of that. I managed everything, like, So, yeah, I think it depending on your own specific workload at that time, figure out and don't compromise on your sleep a lot. I'd say
right.
if you have to compromise on going out, but don't compromise on your sleep because then your next day also gets affected.
Do you have any tips for making the college profile and the extra, like choosing the extracurriculars and stuff like that?
Say honestly, it's a very big business that these college counselors are made up. It's good to do things, but you shouldn't like specifically do things only for college is one thing I learned after. Do things that you like, that you honestly like genuinely enjoy doing. Don't do it with the mindset that, oh, I'm doing it so that I can put it on my application so that I'll get into a good college.
Right.
Because like you want to look genuine also somewhere. And yeah, and one more thing is in terms of your like essays and things, like try to be a little different, I'd say, because like they read like so many essays.
Right.
They wanna be like when they read yours, they should remember that, oh, I read an essay about this. Um and yeah, just in general, I'd say just do what you like. Don't they especially in some Bombay and stuff, they really made it a very big thing.
Yeah.
Because like I think a lot of it is on luck also, which person reads your application. So
And like when it gets read, if it gets read
yeah,
first
exactly.
or
Because
okay.
yeah, so don't it's not just like one thing is keep your grades up. That's one thing I'd say focus on because that's important.
Right.
And yeah, and in terms of how much to do, like don't do like 1,000 things. I'd say just do three, four things, but do those three, four things like very properly. That has way more impact than you doing like putting your feet in like every single place possible.
Just wondering like if you had any tips for them when to start writing them, or like how to go about starting or like getting an idea and how many drafts or anything like that.
Okay, so the only essay that you can realistically write before your 12th grade starts is your Common App essay. So I'd say get that done. Like get it out of the way because that's important and you have the break to work on it so you don't have school.
Right.
Because the colleges they release their essays like after school starts, around that time.
Like are there like
And,
different prompts or
yeah, I'm talking
okay.
about US. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and one more thing is that in your summer, finish off as many IAs as you can because, like, this is what I did as well. Because once school starts, they're gonna be giving you like tests, like quite a few tests and stuff, because they need to. they need to like make a second predicted for you.
Right.
So yeah, so in terms of you'd want to finish off your IAs because you'll have to manage your tests, IAs, and your essays, and you can't compromise on any of them because your
Yeah.
IAs and your tests make up your predicted grade, and your essays of the university, of course, go out to the college.
Yeah.
So manage your things well, and we'll be fine. Like,
Okay. That's great. I think that wraps up this interview. Thank you
yeah,
so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys
yeah,
in the
no,
next one.
and all the best to everyone who's applying.
Cool. Thank you.